Can you believe it? It's that time of year again. November. Hard to believe we're in November already. But this is the time that we need to start checking our cars for those long trips. So my advice to you is have a look when your car is due for a service. Have a look at the kilometers it's done. If you're going on a long trip, make sure you're not exceeding your kilometers for your service. And do something about booking your service now. People always forget to check their tires. And when I say check their tires, not so much the tire pressure, it's how are the tires? Is the condition of the tires safe? Are they going to be safe for that trip? And if not, you need to do something about ordering tires now. I find tires are almost impossible to get. And if you need one or you need two, you literally have to buy four to actually sort out your tire problem. Start looking at it now. While we're talking about tires, it's worthwhile having your wheel alignment done before you go on a long trip. It causes excessive fuel consumption if your wheel alignment's out, and on top of it, it's unsafe. So check your car, your tires, and worry about tire pressures, worry about those things. But the most important thing you need to do now is wheel alignment, wheel balance. You're driving around town right now, you're driving on urban roads, and you don't go on the highway at 120 kilometers an hour. When you hit that highway at 120 and your steering wheel's about to jump out of your hands because your wheels are not balanced, it's too late to go looking for a garage to balance your wheels. You don't want that aggravation. Look to it now. Finally, while we're on tires, get out your wheel spanner, get out the jack, make sure they work, make sure you know where to put them to jack up the car, and test the wheel spanner on the wheel nuts on your car. Make sure they fit, and also see if you haven't got a spare wheel lock or a lock that requires a special tool to take that wheel nut off. Check it now. It's too late to check it in the middle of the Karoo, in the middle of nowhere. You need to make sure that you are sorted, and you can obviously put a spare wheel on. So why not check the spare wheel at the same time? You might not have any air in it, so check the spare wheel too. We are here to look after you. So if you take advantage of this offer, bring your car for a safety check. It's no charge. Taking the wheels off is another thing that you mustn't forget. I personally have been in the middle of nowhere where I could hardly get the wheel off. It had rusted onto the rim of the car, an aluminium wheel, and it was very, very difficult. So when you bring it in here, we make sure we take wheels off, we check brakes, we put them back on, and when we tighten the wheel nuts, we use a torque wrench, and we don't use a power tool that requires Superman to take the wheel nut off when you're out in the middle of nowhere. So if you're not going to bring it in for a safety check, put the wheel spanner on, make sure you can take the nut loose, tighten it up to the correct torque. The obvious things are the water level, the oil level, and making sure that the dipstick's in place and the radiator cap's tight. One of my favorite things that people ignore is the radiator cap. So it's got water, and you open the radiator cap when the car's cold and you can see the water's to the top of the radiator neck. Put the cap back on and off you go. Unfortunately, if your car is more than 4 years old, I would advise you replace the radiator cap. Even if somebody's put a pressure testing device on that radiator cap, so it's holding pressure, just replace it. They do fail, and when they fail, it's a catastrophic loss of water that's not even going to warn you. Your temperature gauge will remain on cool and eventually go down to cold because there's no water in the system to warn you that their car is getting hot. So it's no idle warning that I'm sharing with you. Get your radiator cap changed if your car is older than 4 years. So while we're talking about radiator caps, another area that I find when people take long trips is the belts failing. Belts come off, and that is another catastrophic area where you are going to get into trouble. Your car will overheat and cause lots of damage and spoil your holiday. So have the fan belt and the serpentine belt checked Let them check the pulleys are fine and they're not going to chew that belt off. Another area that everybody forgets, and you will remember it when the traffic cop stops you. You will. Your disc has expired, and then the guys want to take you off and put you on the side of the road, and you can't get to your holiday destination. Please make sure your license disc is up to date. Finally, I would like to wish you guys a safe trip, a happy journey. Enjoy the ride and take time to rest. My name's Clive. I'm at the home of happy customers, Suzuki Kyalami.